Guys, do you realize today is vlog number 50? 50 vlogs! What are we gonna do special for vlog number 50? How about a full review of this? The battery-powered 30-kilometer-an-hour rocket known as the Boosted Board. Let's do that. Alright, so there's lots of other Boosted Board reviews out there. If you want more of the individual specs and details and all the inside things, I want to talk about this a little bit more practically, which is how does this thing perform in the real world in a place like Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, that is flat and not very good roads and has winter and those kinds of things. We'll talk about that. But from the really high level specs, there are 3 models of boosted boards. There's the single, which has 1 motor. There's the dual that has 2 motors, and the dual plus, the same 2 motors, just a little bit more power. Cost $1,000 US, $1,300 US, $1,500 US. If you live in Canada, you're gonna have to pay $85 US shipping, plus GST, plus border fees to FedEx to take it through the border. In the end, my dual, which is the middle model, ended up coming to around $2,000 Canadian. So they are not cheap, but they're really well made and a lot of fun. Now, does it work in a place like this? I was worried about the cracks and the crappy roads, and we don't have beautiful New York City smooth streets, or maybe the roads are crappy there, I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of places in the US that are better than here. But honestly, yes, it does work. Other than big railroad tracks or cracks where you're getting into even probably an inch, it would probably do if you lean back. But other than that, broken up pavement, these wheels are amazing and basically eat up all of that stuff. I found that it's really fast to get places, which is awesome because you can kind of do sidewalk and street and bounce between those. That makes it actually really practical for commuting around, which for me, I own my own business. I got lots of meetings around the city. I've been enjoying hopping on this thing and bouncing around from place to place to place, and it's not like it takes 2 or 3 times as long as a car does. Once you get comfortable on this and you know your routes and where you're ripping around, it's actually pretty close, especially if you're going somewhere like downtown where you got to spend the time trying to find a place to park. You save on the parking costs, which here is $4 for 2 hours, so not crazy, but it's something. But you're also saving the time just going around and around and around and around trying to find parking. So in that way, I would say that it is quite practical. Actual range, I've found between 6 and 7 kilometers for me, who's about 170 pounds, typically carrying 10 pounds of equipment on my back. Now, we're pretty flat here, but broken up pavement is harder on range than really smooth pavement, and oftentimes it's pretty windy around here, so wind makes a big difference. Other common questions I get asked: 30 minutes to charge 80%, an hour to charge fully. Cost is about 1.5 pennies for the charge. We have a lot of rocks around here, and underneath you'll see some scratches from where rocks have kind of hit the back truck. Amazingly, either they have never hit the belt or the belts just don't really care. They just hit the rocks away. And these wheels handle rocks like nothing I've ever experienced before. That may be longboards in general, but I came from skateboarding where you had these tiny little round wheels, and if you weren't careful and you hit a rock, you would go flying. Actual top speed of this, it's rated for 32 kilometers an hour. I think it depends how heavy you are. Again, with around 180 pounds on it and a little bit of a breeze and not smooth pavement, I'm typically probably closer to 25 kilometers, but I certainly have been up around the 30 or 32 kilometer hour range, according to Snapchat, which again may not be the most accurate, but it moves along plenty quick. Make sure you wear a helmet. Don't make the same mistake I did. Which, I mean, you'll see a lot of YouTubers and other people not wearing helmets, and I'm kind of amazed that they're okay, because 30 kilometers an hour is fast to wipe out. Yeah, let's go rip around on it and show you guys how it works. so how do you actually go on one of these things? Well, you've got a remote right here. Once you power it on, it'll tell you the battery life, which is getting low a little bit here. You've got a trigger on the front. You need to hold that in. That's called the dead man trigger. If you let go of this, the board will not continue forward, will not break, will not do anything. So you hold that in, and then you've got a dial on the top. You roll that forward. The board's going to go forward. You roll that back, and it's actually going to brake itself or reverse. Now, these are regenerative brakes, which means that they add power back into the batteries as you brake. So that's kind of cool. Power switch, make sure that's on, and you're basically able to go. All right, one of the first things you're going to notice about this board is that it is very, very springy. It's this like loaded bamboo deck that, I don't know, makes it very, very cushy, I guess, to ride. In some ways, maybe that's a little bit freaky, but it ends up smoothing out lots of the bumps. Okay, so you've got 3 modes on the boosted board. You've got like a beginner mode, and then an intermediate mode, and an advanced mode. The lower the mode, the slower your speed, and the slower the braking to help you kind of get up to the top mode or whatever you're comfortable with. So I didn't stay in beginner too long. Again, I had some previous skateboarding experience. I was in intermediate pretty quick and then to the top level, but I'll show you the difference between the 3 modes. All right, so here's beginner. Here's intermediate. Here's the advanced one. Perhaps tough to tell from such a short little bit, but the rate of acceleration gets progressively much, much quicker, and then your top speed and then your braking is going to be more aggressive. How is the braking? Well, a lot of it depends on how much traction you can get when you're starting to brake, but don't expect to like go from top speed to a dead stop in 5 feet, but it'll certainly slow you down. If you're on really bad terrain where the wheels can't grip, then not so much, but I definitely appreciate having the brake. Here, I'll show you. So there the wheels were kind of fighting for the grip, but once I got it, it stopped me. That maybe wasn't the best example, but something. Let's keep going. I think one of the hardest things to capture on here is simply just the way that you feel when you're on this thing. Like, I mean, look at the sky behind me, look at the day. You're not in like, you know, a giant full face helmet and all the riding gear like on a motorbike. Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea, but you're just kind of out and about here and you can really vary your speed, hit a park path. You can't do that in another vehicle. Overall, it's just such a fantastic feeling. Yeah. People ask about hills. Not a problem. You do need to be mindful of cracks. You're gonna see various size cracks around here, but even a big crack like this thing can eat up. Check this thing out. That's almost a 1-inch crack. That was huge. It did it. It hurt, but it did. And if for some reason you run out of a little bit of path or you need to go somewhere, just pick up the boosted board, put it over your back, you can carry it up some steps. Just make sure to try and put it down as quickly as you can so you can get back to riding. So what's the boosted board all about? I'd say it's about getting out there, enjoying life, having a great time while you do it, just being a little bit more connected to the world around you. Not so much buried in your cell phone and mindlessly driving about in your car, which we can all do. I love my boosted board. reason you happen to run out of juice, just find a spot with a place to plug in. Take a few minutes, enjoy what's around you.